Okay, well, I have 2 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everybody to the Demountable Concepts online webinar about building supply swap body delivery. This is part one of the three-part series that I'll be running this week. And in this session, I'm going to cover how companies utilize the system to reduce and sometimes even eliminate after-hours loading expenses. A couple things I want to mention before I move forward. Everybody is in listen-only mode for the duration of the webinar. However, if you have questions pop up throughout, feel free to take note of them. You could submit them through the GoToWebinar app as well. And I am going to allot for some time at the end to answer any questions that pop up throughout. So like I said, feel free to take them down and save them to the end or submit them, and I will be sure to address any questions at the end of the presentation. So with that, I want to thank everybody for the time today. I want to thank you for the interest in Demountable as well. I'm excited to be able to spend the time with everyone on here and provide the valuable information for future fleet and operations decisions at your company. So before I get into the actual presentation itself, I want to give you an idea of what I'll be covering. So first, I'm going to go through a company overview, explain to you what Demountable Concepts is. Then I'll hop into the actual system itself and the benefits that it provides. Then we'll go through the components and the equipment options. I'll cover some additional support items, and then I will also share my contact information at the end as well, just in the event you want to reach out and have a more detailed conversation, which we obviously prefer. Now, this will run about 30 minutes tops, and that includes time at the end for questions, but the actual content may be about 20 minutes or so. And again, everyone's in listen only mode, so make sure to take note of any questions you have throughout, and I'll be happy to cover those at the end as well. So let's hop right into it. As far as who we are, Demountable Concepts, we are based in the United States out of New Jersey, and we've been in business for over 30 years. And we have been serving some of the top building supply companies across the United States for the 30 years that we've been in business. In fact, our first customer in Demountable was in the building supply industry. And a lot of our customers are included within the top 100 for reasons that you'll see later on in this presentation. But as far as what we do, we manufacture the demountable equipment at our facility, and then we work with your truck dealer and your bodybuilder to deliver this best-in-class product that we call Swap Body. Now, as far as who we are, in my opinion, this best explains us as a company and as a team. These are our 6 core values. It's how we work so well together internally, as far as sales, like myself working with operations and engineering, fabrication, basically bringing everything together. This is how we're able to do what we do. But we also exert these core values out to our customers, and we align our values with theirs. And that's kind of how we've always been able to keep the customer's best interest in mind, because ultimately we want to provide this great product, but we want to be a team, a partner in the industry, and then grow with you. I mean, that's the idea of this system, as you'll see. Now, to help do that, we have this process in place. And this process has evolved over the years as we've gotten bigger. And um, really what this means to you is that Demountable is going to be with you every step of the way. From the beginning, when we're asking you the questions to understand your business, to understand your operations, your customers' demands, so that we can go back to our engineering team and our operations teams and really come up with the best solution, engineer it, build it, deliver it, and then train your team on it. And then after you're running it and you're seeing the benefits and utilizing it, we're still going to be there to support you and your team through any questions or concerns that arise throughout the life of the equipment. So, really you should feel confident that you're not just buying a piece of truck equipment, but you're getting a partner that's going to invest in the furthering success of your operation there. So now that you know who we are, I want to talk about why companies are using the swap body system. So before we actually, before we discuss how it's used, what is it? So Swap Body is a lean and efficient delivery operation, and it's meant to reduce loading expense while driving more quality deliveries to your customer base. And I'm going to discuss all of that over the next 3 sessions this week. But like I'd mentioned, this one we're going to talk about after hours expense. And this strategy is really deployed for deliveries being made within 100 miles of your distribution center, and it's best described as a tractor trailer drop and hook, but for straight trucks, kind of as you can see in the display picture there. So how is it used? Well, to best describe that, pictures are always great. So I'm going to show you a series of infographics, and each section is going to light up green, and I'll bring you through each step in detail. So a driver comes in to start their shift to a preloaded truck, and they immediately start making deliveries. Meanwhile, a spare body or two are back at the warehouse on legs being loaded. So while you're delivering, there's product coming off the line at the warehouse, and it's going right into the demountable body at the warehouse. So you are loading and delivering the same truck essentially at the same time, which is only possible with demountable. So when the driver returns empty at the end of their shift, they drop off the empty body at the warehouse and then mount up the loaded body, and they do that within 10 minutes. So it's a very quick swap process between bodies. And what this does is it allows companies to have trucks come and go throughout the day. So really, to sum up the process again, it's resulting in more deliveries being made per day at a much lower cost. Now, as it pertains to your loading costs, let's expand on that. And this is the most popular reason that building supply companies use this system, and it's to eliminate after-hours shifts or overtime that is being used to load their trucks. Now, in a normal operation, you're waiting for trucks to return. And when I say normal operation, I mean non-demountable. So you're waiting for trucks to return to begin loading, or you're scheduling early morning shifts to load the trucks prior to drivers arriving. So you're staging product in your warehouse in order to make this happen, right? So product's coming off the line throughout the day, and you're staging it at your bay door, waiting for the trucks to come back. So, and then you're either loading them after hours or you're loading them early morning. But either way, you're trying to get it done before your drivers come in to start delivering the next day. But what this is resulting in is extra shift hours or even overtime expense to get it done. Now, on average, it takes 2 hours to hand load a 26-foot box truck full of windows and doors. So imagine 2 hours a day per truck, 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year over a 6-year truck cycle. We're talking over $100,000 per truck just in after hours or overtime expense. Now, the alternative is swap body, right? So you have a demountable body back at the warehouse during normal business hours while you're delivering. And that body is being loaded as product comes off the line. So again, deliveries are still happening while this is going on at the warehouse, but you're not staging product anymore at your bay door, tying up warehouse space, right? So you're freeing up warehouse space, you're touching the product a lot less, which means you're risking product breakage a lot less. And you're loading product as soon as it comes off the line so that truck bodies are ready to go the next morning when drivers start their shift. And again, when the driver is done making deliveries, they come back, they drop off the empty body and hook up to the full one within 10 minutes. And now they're ready to go for the next day's deliveries. And the best part, that $109,000 goes right back into your P&L because now you're no longer loading after hours. Now I want to show you a couple of examples of companies that have done this. So Pella, pretty well-known company in the industry, windows and doors. They've been a customer of ours for over 20 years. And they started with a truck and 2 bodies. And what they saw was that they were able to, now I know that 40% seems great, right? You're increasing business. And I'm going to expand on that in the next couple of days. But the number I want to point out here is the 25% reduction in loading costs and overtime. They were able, and they did this pilot, right, with a truck and 2 bodies, and they were able to show that real reduction in overtime and second shift, to where now, 20 years later, they have over 75 demountable trucks and over 150 demountable bodies across the country. And they're just continuing to grow, as their operation grows. And like I said in the beginning, we want to do that with you. We want to partner. Everybody wins. Your P&L looks way better, and we're selling more equipment. We grow together. Another good example of this is Riverhead. Now they're a top 100 company, and they were scrambling to get trucks loaded in the morning. So what they would do is they would wait for the trucks to come back, and then they would start loading at night on overtime. But they had very strict like cutoffs for their overtime, right? So they would run into instances very frequently where they would run out of time and the trucks wouldn't be fully loaded. So then they'd have to schedule people to come in early the next morning to get them loaded before the drivers would come in. And this would a lot of times would result in drivers sitting idle, waiting for their trucks to be finished before they can leave. But now they've started to slowly convert their 50 truck fleet into demountable, right? They piloted it and now they're working their way up to converting their 50 trucks to be demountable. And since they've started this, they've been able to get their drivers out earlier and they've been able to have bodies loaded during normal business hours so they can scale back that overtime shift every night. Now, these are just a few examples of the hundreds of companies in the industry seeing these benefits. But I feel like I'd leave stuff on the table if I didn't explain to you how it all comes together, right? So it's easy. You see pictures, it looks great, sounds great. Let's talk about the logistics of it. So I want to cover the components of the system with you, and I'll bring you through each section, and so that you understand our part in it and the truck dealer and the body company as well. So the first thing I'll start with is the chassis. The chassis lifter is the component that we manufacture and install on the cabin chassis. It raises and lowers the body on and off the truck chassis. We have two systems available. One is hydraulic. That's our legacy system that we've used over the 30 years. And we also have an air system. We're going to work with you, and this is where that whole process comes into place, where we're having that initial meeting. I'm learning about your business, your customers' needs, your deliveries. We'll be able to recommend which system to use. We don't expect you to know that up front, obviously. So we'll recommend the best one for you. They both have clear benefits. These systems are typically installed at our facility in New Jersey. So the truck manufacturer would drop ship the chassis to us, and then we would upfit the lifter. However, we understand that not everybody is in our general area here in the Northeast. So we do have remote installers throughout the country that we can ship lifter kits to so that they can do remote installs on chassis, help you cut down on freight costs and the full cost of the system as a whole. Now, continuing with the chassis, we do have some options that are available, like lift gates. Lift gates are still able to be put on the truck. We work with all major liftgate manufacturers. However, like I said, we are going to make a recommendation based off of other jobs we've done. But again, if you're married to a specific brand, we can work with them to make it work on your truck chassis. It's important to note, like you see in the picture though, when the truck pulls out from the body, as you can see on the left-hand side, the liftgate stays with the truck. It does not stay with the body. It is now part of the truck chassis. That's how it works with demountable. Just like the liftgate, we could put a walk ramp on the truck as well. When the body is on the truck, it works just like a normal ramp, slides out, hooks onto the body, and you could go up and down like you normally would on any other walk ramp. But just like the liftgate, when the truck demounts from the body, the ramp goes with the truck. It does not stay with the body. We do have building supply companies that do job site drops. They will leave a body at a job site, and that body will be offloaded over the span of a couple of days. They do this so that they're not tying up a power unit for a day or 2 days. They drop the body and then they can put the truck to work making deliveries with other demountable bodies. But the issue was, right, getting in and out of the body. The body's standing 50 inches off the ground. So what we do is we can manufacture a portable ramp that you can leave behind with your demountable bodies at job sites so you can easily offload product up and down from the body. The last thing I'll mention as far as the chassis goes, and it's kind of a combination between chassis and body, but mostly chassis is a Moffett. We can do Moffett systems. We work with you to get the Moffetts that you use or the forklifts that you use, and then we will spec out the Moffett kit to mount on the chassis and body to make it all work and come together. So that about wraps up the chassis portion. Now I want to talk about the body. The most common misconception about demountable bodies is that we build the body. We don't. We have body vendor partners that do that for us. This on your screen, this is our part of the body. It is just the subframe, the long rails, and the legs. So we manufacture this, we send it to your bodybuilder, and instead of putting their subframe in the production line, they put ours in, and then they lay their floor on top and build the body up exactly to your spec. So all the cargo restraints, the inside height, the panels, the floor, what have you, that is all up to you. That can all stay the same. That doesn't affect the mountable at all. The only thing that's different about this body is that it now can stand on 4 legs and it can be locked onto a demountable chassis. We can build them anywhere from 12 feet up to actually 28 feet, and they can be 96 or 102 inches wide as well. Now, as far as the legs go, we have a couple of options that I want to mention. And the reason I'm mentioning it is because we have a new leg. First, though, I'll cover our original leg, our legacy leg. On the left, you'll see a picture of that. These legs have been in our system for over 30 years, and they can withstand collectively, all 4 legs can withstand 24,000 pounds when the body is standing independent of the chassis. This leg works for most applications up to this point. But again, we understand that not every operation is the same. And in an effort to expand our horizons and offer this solution to different industries and different operations, we designed a new DIN standard swing leg. It incorporates some technology from Europe. The UK and Europe is far ahead of us in distribution, have been using swap body for over 50 years now. So we incorporated some of that technology and Americanized it, quote unquote. And so now we can offer this leg. Now this leg swings down rather than pulls out, so it's creating less required space on either side of the body to deploy the legs. So it's a great option for tight dock spaces. But most importantly, these legs collectively can withstand 40,000 pounds, and it allows the body to be forklift loaded from the dock without the need for a chassis to be underneath. Our legacy leg, while it can withstand the weight, never really allowed for forklift loading in a demountable body without a chassis. So this is a great new option for some larger lumber companies that are loading bulk shipments, or millwork carts via a forklift. Now, to give you an idea of what each looks like, I have a couple of video clips, really quick clips. The first one I'll show you is our DIN standard leg, the swing down leg. And as I said, it only pulls out about a foot, so it's great for tight dock spaces. And once it swings down, a brace comes up, connects to the body, and then a spring action pin slams shut that locks the leg in place. Pretty easy. You just do that 3 more times and the body's ready to be lowered onto its legs. Our legacy leg, again, a great leg, 30 years in the field. It pulls out about 4 feet, swings down. The brace on the upper leg tube goes in via a pin, and now that leg is ready, and you do that again 3 more times, body's ready to be dropped on its legs. And just to give you an idea of how easy it is, it sounds complex, but really, honestly, once the body is on its legs, it's as simple as just pulling straight out from underneath the body. And if your driver can back up to a dock, they can back underneath the body, no problem. The last thing I want to mention about the body are the different body styles. You can have any body style be demountable, and the best part is they can all interchange. So, for lumber companies or lumber yards offering different products, and those different products require different truck bodies or different trucks to deliver them, right? So some might need a flatbed Moffett, some might need just a regular stake body, some might need a curtain sider, and some might need a van body. Why buy so many different trucks if you don't use them every single day? Just get a chassis with a demountable lifter on it that can today be a van body, and then tomorrow you take the van body off and put the curtain sider body on, and then the next day take the curtain sider off, put the flatbed on. So that one chassis is now effectively 3 different trucks. So honestly, when you're looking at ROI, that's an immediate ROI right up front. So now that we've covered the components, and before I wrap up, there's one more important support item we offer, and that's training. We understand that this is new equipment, and we want to ensure that new customers and new users are comfortable with it. So this is why we spend up to a whole day training drivers, supervisors, warehouse personnel, maintenance personnel, basically anyone touching the equipment, we want to make sure is fully trained and fully comfortable with the system. Additionally, we provide manuals for future reference, and our website is a plethora of information for follow-up training and questions. We have a whole support page with training videos, quizzes, manuals, operations and maintenance as well. So, you know, the support is there, and we're always here. We're only a phone call away to help as well. And then also, if you want to set your team up for recurring recertification training, we can do that as well, annually, biannually, however you'd like to set it up. So as far as next steps, we do have demo equipment. We have demonstration equipment on both the airlift system and the hydraulic lift system, and both our legacy leg and swing down leg. You know, with travel restrictions nowadays, COVID and the pandemic, we understand that travel and in person can be a little tough. So we have been offering live virtual demonstrations where we can stream the demo, and then we can interact throughout. You can ask questions. I can zoom in, I can walk up, you can talk to the driver. You know, we can get really creative with it, but you know, ultimately we want you to understand how the system works. So we should definitely connect on that if you're interested in the system, and we can definitely schedule that. We can look at nearby customers if there's any near you that you can maybe swing by and check out as well in person. And then we can provide quote for budgeting. You know, after we really understand your operation and what type of system you would need, we can get you an idea on how that would fit in, you know, with your budget. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out to us. I am on the left. My name's Gerry. My colleague Derek also helps assist building supply companies with demountable as well. So either of us can be great assets to you. And at this point, I want to pause and I want to see if there are any questions that I can help out with maybe at this point. Again, you can feel free to submit them through the GoToWebinar app. I should see that pop right up for you. Okay, good question. So someone asked, can the equipment be leased? Yes, it can be leased. We work with a lot of lease companies throughout the country, and we don't lease it. You know, we'll sell it to the leasing company, and then they'll work it into their lease program for you. And the most popular method that I've seen is that building supply companies will lease the power units, right? They'll lease the cabin chassis, but then they'll buy the demountable equipment. And the reason is that the demountable lifter and the demountable bodies can last beyond one lease term. So you can, say you as a company lease a truck and you put the demountable lifter on it. When that truck's lease term expires and it's time to renew that truck lease, we can take the old truck, take the lifter off, do a refurb on it, and then put that same lifter on the new truck chassis, and it's good for another 6-7 years, right? And a refurb is about half the cost of a brand new lifter. So your lease rate should drop that second term because we're not incorporating a brand new lifter cost into that second lease truck. So you can really, and I mean, if you own the equipment, you can depreciate that equipment over a 14-year period, no problem at all. The bodies, same thing. Depending on where they run, the Northeast, they might get a little bit more wear and tear because of all the salt corrosion and everything going on up here with the weather. However, in the South, man, there are bodies out there that are 20 plus years old. So they can last a long time if you take care of them, just like anything. And yeah, like I said, you can write these things off, this equipment off over a very long period of time. Another one I just saw, what is the difference between the airlift and the hydraulic lift? So the main difference is weight. So obviously, when we're talking about adding truck equipment to the truck itself, we're adding weight. The difference between the hydraulic lift and the airlift is about 1,000 pounds. The airlift is 1,000 pounds lighter. So for those customers that are very weight conscious and they need as much payload as possible, we always go for the airlift. Again, we're going to do a weight analysis with you to understand your business, to understand the product, the routes, so on and so forth, because the airlift is a little bit more expensive, so we don't want you to pay for something you don't necessarily need. So we're going to make sure that you get the right system and the right lifter based off of your operation. Does the body need to be secured to the dock when forklift loading? No, no, it doesn't. Now, that's one of the questions that we ask during our initial discovery conversations with you is that, hey, do you forklift load? If the answer is anything other than no or very rarely, then we would recommend getting those swing legs with our air system. And with the swing legs, the body, so with our legacy leg, if you were to forklift load, you can, again, those legs can withstand the weight, but the body tends to rock a little bit on our old style leg. And it's designed to do that so that the legs don't get damaged. The problem is when you're driving a forklift on and off multiple times, the body rocks and it tends to quote unquote walk away from the dock. So then at one point, you're not going to be able to drive the forklift on because the body would have walked too far away from the dock. So what we do is we design this other leg, this swing down leg that withstands the weight and the body doesn't move as much. So we do have companies that do dock locks that do secure the bodies to the dock. However, it is not necessary for our swing legs. All right, well, I'll mention this that a recording of the webinar will come out about an hour from now or so. So you can reference that at any time. And there is a PDF that I can share with all the attendees afterwards as well. It's an all-inclusive PDF. It has all the information I covered on this webinar as well. So I'll be sure to send that out to everyone as well. So with that, I want to thank everyone for joining me and setting aside time to learn more about the SWAT body system. You probably come up with ways to leverage this either with eliminating those hours or maybe a different way, but we'd love to talk to you about it. So don't hesitate to reach out. I look forward to speaking with you more about it, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we'll be talking soon.